Time now to round up a big story of the week, and we're talking the Bill Cosby controversy. As more women come forward claiming Cosby sexually assaulted them, the comedian's attorney is blasting the media. Martin Singer calls the women's claims never before heard, unsubstantiated, and fantastical accounts of events they say occurred decades ago. Cosby performed at a sold-out show in Melbourne, Florida Friday night, but organizers have canceled shows in a half-dozen other states. So when claims like these pop up decades later, the issue of statute of limitations is raised. Plus, with some shows selling out, but Hollywood turning its back, pulling Cosby-related programming, opinions appear to be mixed. That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page and Twitter. Use the hashtag Fox26forlife. Joining us live in the newsroom is our panel, led by Fox 26 legal analyst Chris Tridico. All right, Chris, so can anything be done in the legal system at this point?
Well, before we start, Sally, there's a bigger story that we have to discuss here, and that's the fact that Sam Houston State University split the Southland Conference Championship last night. For, I think, the fourth year in a row, the best university in Texas has won their conference. Anyway, so the issue with Bill Cosby, most of these cases that I've seen, all of them that I've seen, are so old that there can't be a statute of limitations that I can find that still applies. In criminal, now I don't practice law in every state, but in Texas, 10 years is the limitation period for a criminal case of this type, unless the complaining witness was under 17 at the time, which would make it to their 28th birthday. And most states are followed generally that same pattern. I don't see any case here that they could be charged criminally. Civilly, generally the statute's limitations are 2 or 4 years in every state. So I don't see any litigation coming his way, but his biggest problem is his public image, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. Let me introduce our panel. Mustafa Tamiz, our political analyst, Jackie Bally, our public policy analyst. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning.
Both of you took the week off last week. I was here, but that's okay. So what does Bill Cosby do? I mean, he's had half a dozen shows canceled. He's still got a few that he's going to be able to do. What does he do, Mustafa, to repair his image?
Well, he's 77 years old, and dozens and dozens of women have come forward with a very similar story, that he gave him a drink, there were some pills in this thing. So what I would like him to do is just to go away. You know, at this point, this is
retire and move on.
Yeah, I'm tired, and I think that the American public's tired, and he's kind of let people down in a way. We all watched him on, we laughed at the jokes, we appreciated what he did for the larger community, and this is just sad.
For people that grew up here in the United States, Bill Cosby is everybody's dad.
He is.
All right, what does he do? How does he get past this?
And in particular for the black community, this was the first time we actually saw an upper class, with the Bill Cosby show, an upper class black family that did something like they were both doctors.
They were respectful.
Very respectful. They taught us about race relations with old time humor. So his image is damaged, but this is not the first time this circulated. People reported it in 2005, Newsweek reported it in 2006, but it's getting widespread circulation now because of social media, and now we have close to, like Mustafa said, 15 women who have come up and said exactly the same thing. His image is damaged, but he was just out at a Lynx convention talking about it in his comic routine. That's all over YouTube right now. He's actually making fun of the allegations, saying, oh, all these parents will not let their children eat Jell-O anymore. And it's not something that he really should be laughing at.
Absolutely. I mean, that could really come back to haunt you, especially if somebody comes up with some real proof that he did it. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let me come back. Good morning. Sally, are you there?
Hey, I'm right here, guys. We're taking a look at social media and talking about what people are saying on Twitter first. This person says, Bill Cosby better keep quiet because his first statements open the floodgates to questions. If you are innocent, then sue for defamation. This person also says if it turns out these allegations are false, Cosby should sue these women. What about that, Chris? Does he have any grounds to sue them?
Well, certainly if it's not true, then he has a defamation cause of action against everyone who's making false statements against him. The problem is for somebody like Bill Cosby to turn around and sue these people is it keeps this thing in the public eye for a lot longer than it normally would be if he just stays quiet. Secondly, he spends a lot of money on lawyers, and we don't generally mind that, but spend a lot of money on lawyers, and you don't have any ability to collect because these women don't have any money. And so my advice to him would be don't sue, let it go, and stay quiet. Quite frankly, Mustafa, I think the best advice for him is to let's take some time off. You see this happen. They go away for 6 months. They come back and start slowly coming back into the public eye, and the public generally forgets and forgives.
I hope the public doesn't forget, or I don't think the public should.
But how do you know what happened?
Well, look, there's so many stories at this point, and these women are credible people. They have no reason to come out and attack them. They're not making any money out of this. You know, many of them are in their late 50s and 60s. Some of them have grandchildren now. They're talking about things that happened 20, 30 years ago with a very specific memory, what happened, where it happened. This is not just you know, few women coming out all at once and saying something in front. Many of them settled in a lawsuit against him.
One of them settled.
Well, I think that there were a number of, one of them settled, but there were a number of unnamed Jane Does within that lawsuit. So more information is going to come out. I don't think this is likely to go away, but it's heartbreaking.
In the court of public opinion, Bill Cosby can get convicted, like we're seeing,
Sure.
without ever having the ability to defend himself.
Yeah, in instances like these, you look at the negatives, do they outweigh the positives? And right now it looks like it does. And the fact that he did settle with at least one of these women is troubling. The fact that several of them have the exact same story is very troubling. And I think that a lot of the networks that pulled he was going to have a television show, there was going to be a series.
Yeah.
I think that's good too. You know, but again, when all these stories started circulating, he was still getting all of these awards. He was still being known as the father of television.
Of the year, right.
So I think, again, social media has really helped to play with all of this and really damage his image.
All right, that's got to be the final word. You know, we'll see what happens, Sally, and I do tend to agree with Mustafa. If this is true, he probably ought to just retire.
Yeah, he was definitely in the twilight of his career having a comeback, and this has definitely derailed that. So we appreciate the discussion, guys. Thanks so much. Let's send it over to Caitlin.